Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Session 8 of the Jade Odyssey, a story of the Starfall Collective. Unless Matthew begins shaking his head vigorously, saying, "No, you fool, it's not Session 8." Nope, he's giving me the subtle nod. We're good. It is a pleasure to have you back with us playing this Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition powered adventure. We're using it to hopefully create some rich and compelling stories, and I'm doing so with friends who I would love to introduce you to. Matthew, if you could tell the folks your elevator pitch, I sure would appreciate it.
Here's my elevator pitch. Hello, my name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, TALAMINI.com. I play the sociopathic warlock, Crocular.
Artiste Crocular. Very good, yes. Very good.
Hi, I'm LT. I play the tragically magical Jim.
Very good. Jacob.
Hi, my name's Jacob Burbridge, and I am playing Poen, the Tiefling Monk.
Excellent. And we are joined also by our good friend Jared, who is not translucent. Okay, for a sec. We'll get him to introduce himself in post, but he is playing Ivan, the not quite geriatric, but certainly long-toothed, surly misanthrope on a mission to manage his anger. So, when last we played 1,000 ages ago, sorry, fervent and faithful listeners for the hiatus, we managed to get our crew onto the Dancing Narwhal. What is it that the Dancing Narwhal primarily preoccupies itself with? Does anybody remember?
It's a whaling vessel, but I forget the name of those things.
Stone mantles.
Stone mantles, that's right.
Yes. Stone mantles are a sort of cousin to dark mantles, which can be found in some of the shallow and deeper parts of the Underdark, but there's certainly a danger for those trying to pierce into the Underdark. They fill a lot of the cave systems, and there are also pebble-skinned nautilus species that also fly around. So there are a couple of different types of flies. So the Dancing Narwhal is captained by one Captain Graham, who is apparently an associate of Rock and Bricks. We were just catching up, Jared, on what had happened last week. So on the Dancing Narwhal, Captain Graham has offered to ferry you to what place to see what person? Does anyone recall?
That library. To see, what was the short name we made for them? Sambo?
Bebopalula?
Dom DeLuise La Bamba, I believe, something like that.
DeLuise La Bamba.
Yeah.
If you call him that, I can't promise you that bad things won't happen. But Dom DeLabrambu, Be Brighton, Bubble Fusen, Von Ailst is one of the more senior wizards at the Arcanium. And Rock and Brick feel confident that you are much safer in the hands of Dom than their own, seeing as how they found themselves unable to prevent the attacks from Karen by Karen. You are in a bit of a pickle because some of you went nosying around in random parts of the ship, and you managed to find a stowaway, a small halfling girl named Trillia. All tears when you found her, and after a bit of pressing, Jim and oyster shucks. What is Dwight's character's name?
Enian. Yeah.
Enion, that's right.
Yeah.
Enion and Jim managed to have a conversation with Trillia and reason with her. Jim kind of put his foot down and insisted that she come clean, and it was revealed that her brother was actually already a crewman on the ship, Redis. So Trillia and Redis are in a bit of a pickle because Trillia and Redis are both quite confident that Captain Graham, who seems to be a well enough natured man, but he's still the captain of a ship, and captains famously do not tolerate stowaways. It sets a very bad precedent. So you guys came up with a plan. The idea was for Trillia to help her cause by making some sort of delightful treat, something to win over Captain Graham, and you guys need to probably help her out because she's a tiny little halfling girl, and the odds of her succeeding at low. But that is where we pick up. I believe, however, that I promised Pone the opportunity to the little ratkin fellow that he was down in the galley peeling potatoes with. So, true to my word, Pone, the camera comes in on Pone and a small rat folk peeling potatoes. I don't know if Ivan or Crocular come wandering in at some point. That's up to you guys. But at the beginning of the scene here, we see Pone with a knife and a burlap sack that he is progressively peeling with potato skins and a small ratkin folk who is talking to him as he's prepping, slicing root vegetables and whatnot.
It sure is nice to have help down here. I appreciate it a lot. Very kind of you.
It's all. And he's gonna keep whittling away at the potato. After a few more potatoes, he'll probably ask something to the effect of, "What other jobs are there on this ship?"
Well, most of the crew sees to the tending of the ship. It takes a lot of effort to keep a boat in the sky. You got to make sure that the air elementals are happy. They can get a little bit temperamental, so somebody's got to always be there, making nice with them and making sure that they're happy and that all of their union obligations are fulfilled. Of course, you've got guys who are constantly on the lookout. I mean, a lot of it is just keeping at least 5 sets of eyes in any direction because there are a couple of the bigger stone mantles that we've run in fuffles. They like to come back around. They can be very vengeful. So we have to keep an eye on the skies. We always have a target on our back. And then, of course, once we do catch them, it takes a lot of effort to process one of these guys. There's a lot of meat, and the good stuff is the good stuff, and the bad stuff can kill you. So we have a few guys who are really handy with a knife and know their way around dark stone mantle anatomy. And they're responsible for slicing it all up. And then we have other guys that like to smoke the meat. And of course, we have alchemists who know how to extract all of the levy oxides from their blood and from some of their internal organs where it accumulates. And then, of course, we have a couple of engineers who keep the levy reactor going. We have to, in order to get enough, oomph to keep this bird up in the sky. Fortunately, it only takes a teeny tiny bit to burn every single day, but we got to keep it going, so it just takes a lot of upkeep.
He says all that probably even faster than I can say it. His tiny little voice runs a mile a minute.
In that case, I rolled a 12 on intelligence. Most of.
Okay, sure.
That being said, I think Pone is going to ask, what do you do with the parts of the stone mantles that kill you? Do you just throw them away? Keep them?
I think there are a couple of folks on the ship that maybe make a couple of those glands disappear before they go off the side, but most of them just get pitched. Doesn't really make sense to keep a lot of super dangerous poisons around that we're not going to do anything with.
Interesting. All right.
Are you a connoisseur of the blade, a dabbler in the dark liquids?
No. I'm just a curious thought that occurred. Something of the sort.
He kind of chuckles to himself and says, "Oh, I have curious thoughts too sometimes." He kind of licks his lips.
Poen chuckles with him because why not?
Very good. Did you any other questions for your tiny furry friend?
No. I'm will have finished off a couple more potatoes, enough to make a decent amount of work, and he's going to sort of slap his knees and say, "Well, I'll be make sure to come down here eventually again to help you out with more potato peelery."
Ah, very good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And he tosses you a fruit, just a real pretty fruit with these pretty little tufts on the top, and he says,
Don't tell anybody. But, perks of being down in the galley.
Poen puts his mouth to his lips and winks appreciatively, and then heads out. He's probably going
Excellent.
to head for that. So,
okay. A scene where at least Jim, Retus, and Trillia are kind of huddled together and are having a conversation about what they're going to do to try to get Trillia on the good side of the captain. Ivan, Crocular, your friends Enion and Jim and Poen have been missing for a while. You guys have been doing your own thing. You tell me what you've been up to. So, we see the camera pan over Jim, Trillia, and Retus having a conversation. Crocular, what are you preoccupying yourself with at the moment?
Well, I think that Crocular has been studying this book that he sort of lifted from the library that we passed through. Its title really caught his eye because it's something that his interest in it has produced profound effects in his life so far. And so he wanted to know more. The book is called The Aesthetics of the Outer Planes.
And we see Crocular reading aloud. He's got a small gathering around him. This is actually in the evening when there's a little bit of break time. And so there's a halfling and a bugbear and a couple of human teenagers. They look kind of young, maybe like 17, 18 years old. And they're all kind of fascinated by this cool book that you've got. And they've asked you, the bugbear says,
"Come on, little man, read to us. I want to hear magic words."
Well, I suppose that I could read it to you. If the stars are worthy to be gazed upon, then many instances of art are valuable. But where is this value located? And how is it to be justified? Though the stars persist, their beauty is as fleeting as the logic of the absurd, which is to say, the mortal condition is absurd, and we therefore ought to adopt an attitude of revolt. Of course, this means that art lacks any intrinsic value. Art provides us a mirror into the absurd and is a provocateur of our revolt.
This guy is talking about mutant revolt. Somebody stop him, Captain!
And the bugbear begins getting upset with you for talking about provocateurs and revolts and whatnot.
Oh, my good man, it refers to the revolt of art, the revolt of the spirit against the drudgery of mere flesh.
What's
Not any petty political revolt
oh
or
good.
workplace unionization style revolt or other such drudgery.
Oh, it's okay. We're not allowed to unionize. Only the elementals are allowed to. They've already got one, so you can only have one union per boat. So,
you see, he kind of loses interest in you and wanders off. But the two teenage boys, they come over to you and they say, "So you're saying that if we want to fight against the drudgery of our existence, that art is the only way to?"
Crocular would like to seek inwardly. I would like to reach inward to my connection to my patron.
Okay. The curator.
And get some idea, because I feel like I've made some connection with these people. So I just want to know, what the curator would like me to do with them.
So you kind of you seek inward, and suddenly you feel your palms getting sweaty, and you look down at your hands, and you see that your hands are beginning
spaghetti.
Your hands are beginning to secrete a sort of kaleidoscopic oil slick rainbow pigment slime, and you men to extend their hands, and you kind of slime their hands with this stuff, and you encourage them to do some drawing, some art or whatever with this pigment, and it is a sort of a temporary gift from your god, from your patron. He has allowed you to spread the gift of art through your very mucosal hands.
Yes, I am so dedicated to art. I bleed paint.
Wow, this is so cool. Thanks, mister. Thank you. And they go running downstairs, down to the quarters. Very good. Ivan, what have you been up to in the last few minutes? You've had about maybe 15 minutes or so of free time while the crew is kind of on a general break. You see there are a few people throwing dice, a few people drinking beer, a few guys doing some whittling, a few guys, there's that little halfling who's got a needle and thread, and he's fixing up nets and stuff. So they're just general crew about the ship. Do you think you would gravitate to doing something alone? Would you be trying to get to know some of the other crew?
He would be. He's somewhat uncomfortable in what to him is the close quarters of this ship. So he would be not going below deck, and once he'd just kind of gotten his bearings, if he noticed that anybody was doing something like being on watch, he would probably go to the edge, turn his back to the ship, and ostensibly at least be looking like he's on watch.
So there is the shack. The shack is a bit like a crow's nest, but it's kind of an open it's not closed on the sides because they want maximum visibility, but you're up high, often above the clouds, so the sun can be very intense. So it's got kind of a little bit of a pavilion structure made of reeds or fronds, some sort of thick material, and a platform. And for folks to be up in the shack because that's the place of greatest angle and field of view of visibility. So you are welcome and encouraged to head up there. Once you do, you kind of tag somebody else out and they come back. While you're up there, hanging out, having some relatively alone time, your axe, at one point, you notice that it sort of vibrates in your hand when a juvenile stone mantle goes zipping by. It's not a threat. It's pretty small. It's only a couple of meters long. And by the time it sees you and you see it sends out a cloud of vaporized ink and shoots off. But you notice that your axe, was vibrating in your hand when it got close by. Make me a wisdom check. 5. Okay. With a 5, you simply notice and feel the sensation of the vibration in your hands. It's puzzling to you. I don't know how many high-level magic items you've gotten to wield in your life. We don't know Ivan's backstory, but this is not a common occurrence. It's not a thing that commonly happens. Typically, swords and axes and things of the ilk sit still because they're made of metal and wood. So it's a bit puzzling to you.
And Ivan is not prone to and hasn't studied magic, but he finds this axe to be significant, both because it's an axe and because it has anger in it. And so he feels this strange connection to it that he doesn't really think of in terms of magic so much as like it is sympathetic or something like kindred.
Yeah, so while you are up there, the sun begins to go down. It finishes going down. You guys were all kind of hanging out and having some downtime around dusk. But as the sun goes down and things get a bit darker, as you begin to strain your eyes, make me a charisma check. You can make it as a charisma saving throw.
Natural 20 bonus.
Nice. So while you are up there in the nest, you begin straining into the clouds, and your weapon. What was the name of it that I gave you? Do you remember the name on? It was written in a foreign language.
It was a good name too.
It was like Urdu or something like that.
Ulka.
Ulka. Your eyes strain into the darkness of the mist of the swirling clouds, and Ulka shoots out a beam of light immediately in the direction that you are focused. And you see what looks to be a swarm or a small school of juvenile stone mantles. None of them are bigger than a meter, but as your light shines into them, they scatter and disperse. You kind of have a moment of wonder as you realize that your inability to see, your concentration, that darkness, that Ulka resonated with you and rose to the occasion and served you and shone this light out. So you have managed to trigger a spell effect from your weapon.
Ivan looks at his axe for a minute and is not sure if he should thank it or not. He decides not to.
Very good. Well, your axe continues to be an axe and doesn't get salty with you. Okay, very good. Very good. Excellent. So we cut back to Jim and Inion and a mildly sobbing Trillia and a very concerned Retus. We see Pone coming up from below decks, tossing a beautiful piece of fruit in his hand, and walks over to Jim and Inion and these two halflings and kind of stares at them quizzically, seeing that there's a crying little girl. You guys are mid decks basically. So Pone has come up one set of stairs and has seen Jim and Inion kind of halfway in the hall. Walks over to them, sees into the room, sees that Trillia and Retus are in there, and gives you guys a kind of look.
So, what's gotten them so upset? He asks, inquisitive as to their mental well-being.
So what is the situation that we're in right now? Has she attempted to make something and it's failed, or are we still in the early part of that? Like,
So I rolled and told you
Okay.
guys the roll. She rolled a 2. So
Yeah.
basically, from the outset, she just broke down in tears.
She whipped
And yeah, you guys were like, so why don't you prove your worth and,
Yeah.
make something or do something? And she just has a small nervous wreck
Yeah.
right then and there.
Okay, so I would explain briefly, and maybe not the whole story, to Pone that this is Trillia, and she was trying to cook up a special treat for the captain, and it seems to have gone wrong. But we're trying to figure out what to do next.
And says, I mean, you can't win them all. It's no use being about it, you know? Here, have a fruit. And he's gonna hand the fruit to the girl and sort of rustle her hair.
When you hand the fruit to the girl, Redis's eyes grow kind of wide, and he says, that's... where'd you get that?
What do you mean?
That's that's a really nice, really expensive piece of fruit. Are you guys just wandering around with exotic fruit? Did you steal that? I don't want to get in any more trouble.
No. Why would I steal something?
Okay, all right. Okay, we could do something with this. We could try to galley and try to make something.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys make your way down to the galley. Everybody else is above deck, so everybody make me everybody make a stealth check, and this is going to be a group effort. So 2 of you need to have
probably
at least a middling success.
Wait, am I there?
Well,
it depends on how long you were doing that stuff with those kids. Shortly after that, you probably went looking for your friends. So this would be about the time for Crocular to appear midships looking for his buddies.
Cool. Should I roll stealth too?
You should.
Hi, guys!
For the 3rd time, Jim catches up Crocular on the events of the day.
11 for Crocular.
All right. Jim?
Oh, man. Let's see. Oh, I am going to use a luck point on that one. I rolled 2 twice! So with my -1, I get a 1.
Excellent. Excellent. And Pone, did you roll?
I have not.
Roll me a stealth check.
Wow. Can I use inspiration?
You certainly can.
Sweet.
You earned one.
All right.
9. 7.
Okay, very good. Fortunately, we've got a couple of 11s and a 15, and we just needed one person to actually manage to eke out a little bit of confidence, and that was Enion. So while Jim and Crocular and Pone and Trillia and Redis are all kind of clumsily banging
Flopping
into
around.
walls, and Enion actually manages to plant himself in the middle of a hallway around the corner and stops a couple of people that were coming downstairs trying to whatever. So Enion runs a screen movement maneuver for you guys, and you all make it down into the kitchens. Down in the kitchens, you see your little rat friend, Pone. The name? Because I am not sure that we did, and we should have. That's my fault. Let me... Oh, you know what? I do have his name here. I did name him. Let me find it. Neri. There we go. Found it. So, you see your friend Neri down in the galley.
Slide out. He says, "Oh, back so soon. Oh, you brought
suppose so.
friends."
Of course. Why wouldn't I?
Friends for Neri?
I don't see why not. A friend of
Oh,
mine
wonderful.
is a friend of thine.
Jim, he walks up to you and pretends to take off a hat to you. Crocular, he does a little curtsy with an invisible skirt. Pone, he makes a very grand flourishing gesture. And when he sees Ritas, he kind of gives him a familiar look. But then he sees Trillia, and his eyes kind of crinkle and his whiskers begin shaking. And he looks at Ritas and says,
"Who's that?"
And Ritas kind of wrings his hands and looks over at you, Pone, and says, "You guys see you've chosen to drag my sister's fate into his hands as well. Let's, Neri, we need your help. I'm going to be honest. Trillia, my sister here, she's not supposed to be here, but we got to make something. We got to do something. We got to make it some kind of treat or something to entice the captain to not throw her off." And interjects.
I would like to interject before anything about her not supposed to be being there, and says, "You see, this little lady here is a chef, and she needs to impress the captain. Obviously, well, you can't just make something out of thin air in a pot. So we were wondering if you could help get some stuff for us, for a friend."
Well, you've already got a special something there, Pone, that I gave you, but I gotta be honest, if you're looking for more ingredients, those aren't cheap, if you know what I mean.
And this guy is obviously trying to shake you down for something. No ingredients for nothing. He's holding the keys to the larder and is wondering how you're going to make it worth his while.
I see no reason that our collective might wouldn't be able to cover your potato gift for the good while that we're here. An easy 2 weeks, maybe.
It is at this point that Crocular wanders off. He appears to wander off, but he is actually going to do something, which maybe we can narrate later.
Okay, so Crocular, in the midst of the action, has disappeared himself. Roll me a stealth check if you're trying to disappear surreptitiously.
I'm not trying to hide myself from these folks.
You're not.
I will
Dwight.
be later, though.
You're not Dwight. You're not constantly trying to hide from the rest of the party. I get it. I'm sorry. I'm putting that on you. Forgive me. So Crocular wanders off. Jim, Pone has just volunteered you for manual labor for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I'm down for that.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm assuming that's not 24-hour shit. I'm assuming that we're going to be splitting these evenly. We'll split the shifts evenly, right? Okay. I can do that.
You guys, Pone, since you initiated this, make me a persuasion check, and Jim is going to give you the help action, so you'll be able to make it with advantage.
Roll with advantage. Yeah.
Yes.
First
to make
one
a persuasion
is
check.
A 4. Second is a 12. Better than a 4.
A 12. He kind of looks at you and his eyes narrow and he says,
Peeling potatoes isn't my favorite thing I've ever done, but I don't mind it too bad. I don't know. Might need a little something else to sweeten the deal, if you know what I mean.
Well, do you have any suggestions?
I could use a friend. It gets awful lonely down here. If you were to make me certain assurances about your company, and
how about
maybe read me stories.
What's that?
How about for the next 2 weeks? Every time you are on shift, Neri, Pone will come and help you out for your shift.
Now that sounds like a deal. Why didn't you say so in the first place, Pone? I had no idea you wanted to be my best friend. Hey,
Neither did
don't come
I.
on too hard. Don't embarrass yourself. But seriously, you got yourself a deal. And he runs over and he gives you a good solid shake. And he pulls out a pie tin that looks like it has a pre-baked pie crust. And he says, "Now, I've got I think we can make a good solid tart. I don't think that the captain could possibly throw anybody over the board who made him a delicious tart." And he pats her on the shoulder and she bursts into tears. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Hang on. Back up. Retcon. Pone said that he wanted to say all that stuff before anything about Stowaway came up. And so Pone says, "Making a delicious meal here." And he places the tin in her hands. And you see that there's a little oven that he into, and he lights up. So there's a small little metal box for baking. So anybody who wants to make me an argument for a related check that you could possibly make to help with the process of collaboratively baking a tart. This is why I love Dungeons and Dragons. I didn't know that I'd be doing this, but medicine.
Together. I don't know.
Mage hand for advantage to lend a hand.
It's survival or sleight of hand, or
I would take sleight of hand for prepping the veggies. Sleight of hand, the fruit for slicing up the fruit beautifully. I'd take a sleight of hand check.
or
Anybody who
nature.
thinks- Yeah, nature. I'd take nature for trying to, balance the flavors and whatnot.
If it's
What about
supposed to be
religion?
healthy, maybe medicine.
Yeah, it's not
It's a tart, man.
healthy. It needs to be tasty.
In that case, performance.
Yeah, so I'll take a performance, sleight of hand, or nature.
No,
check.
that's bad. Don't take performance. I'm joking.
Same.
I don't know. It's a form of performance.
Performance for
Okay.
presentation.
Yeah.
Sure.
So who's giving me some checks? Trulia's doing something. Trulia's got to contribute here.
What were the 3 checks again?
Holy cow.
I would do performance.
Okay.
To try to garnish it nicely.
Okay.
So I can do that.
Ooh, fancy. I got a
Do it to it.
23 for performance. I arrange the slices so beautifully across the top. It's
And
awesome.
Pone, you made a sleight of hand check to try to slice everything up. How'd you do?
10. The dice are
10.
not in my...
Competent. And you see that Trulia working over in the corner, pulling some spices off the shelf. Everybody tell me what your passive perception is.
11.
8.
8. 11.
I'm not there.
Okay. Wow. In spite of your incredibly low passive perceptions, you see over in the corner, trying and failing miserably to hide behind some burlap sacks of dried beans, you see McDermish, the older halfling who was working with a needle and thread, cleaning up a net. You see him reach out and grab Trilia's hand, and he kind of waggles his finger at her in a no motion, puts that jar back into the shelf, and pulls a different one out and gives it to her. And you can see that he has hidden himself down here and is also trying to help. And you remain concealed and has failed to do so. Although I guess I should roll to see whether he notices that you guys saw him. Yeah. So he's so concentrated, focused on Trilia that you see him just kind of duck back behind the sack of beans and disappear.
Does he seem like he's trying to help or
Yes,
hinder?
yes. He
Okay.
obviously kept her, and like you kind of
He's trying to
wander
keep her from
over
making a mistake.
and look at stuff, and you see that she tried a bottle of hot pepper flakes, and
Oh, okay.
because it was bright, you assume because it was bright red, and he stops her, and you see that she got some sort of starberry powder or something that
Yeah.
actually is sweet and gonna enhance the flavor.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Neri takes the pie from Trillia and oven. And a little while later, you guys have a hot, piping fresh, beautiful pie. I mean, it looks incredible. Yes, Crocula.
While the tart is cooking,
Yes.
Crocula is busy
Uh-oh.
doing something.
Okay.
With his revolting arts.
So can we narrate that now?
Yeah, we see Neri and Pone are in the corner working furiously on a best friend handshake. Jim and Ritas and Trillia are over, staring into the oven like hawks, just watching intently. Pans over a little bit, and we see Crocula.
Okay, Crocula has left the room well before all this. I'm looking for a person on this ship who is the lowest ranked person who would be able to get into the captain's quarters or wherever the logbook and documentation for the voyage is kept.
So you know that the only
maybe
people
it's the captain.
You guys, that generally speaking,
the cabin boy.
These are not the kinds of things that everybody is capable of, but there is a check for this, and that would be investigation, I believe. So why don't you give me an investigation check to see if you can surreptitiously ask around and suss out the pecking order and authorization / access of the crew of the Dancing Narwhal.
Is there no way that it could be persuasion?
I'm going to say that initially you're making an investigation check just to get some general legwork, but after having done that, you can try to make some persuasion checks on particular people.
Okay, so the investigation is going to be a dirty 1.
A dirty 1. Okay, beautiful. Fortunately, your god thrives amidst chaos, so make me a religion check.
Dirty 3.
A dirty 3. Okay. Wow. Yeah, you're while you're doing this, your hands begin secreting this paint stuff again.
Just dripping tie-dye paint.
Yeah, and it's really starting to creep the rest of the crew out. And
this
you're like,
good though.
Hey guys, can I ask you some questions about whether or not you can get into certain rooms? And you pat them on the shoulder, and they're like, "Oh, get it off!" You're failing miserably, and word is getting around, unfortunately, that you're being a bit of a weirdo. So BS, the big buff hawk Aarakocra, comes over to you and says, "Hey, little man, you've been creeping out some of my friends. What's going on? What's up with your hands? You got some sort of magical disease? Is that contagious?"
It is a magical disease called beauty, and it is very contagious. Have you seen the film Dead Poets Society?
I mean, I've heard the story of the dead poets by some of the great bards, of course. Everybody knows about the Dead Poets Society. It's a famous bard story.
And then I just reach out with like one finger, and I just put a dot of paint like right in the center of his chest, Can I make an intimidation check to weird him out?
Wow. Yes, you can. Go for it.
All right, come on. How's a 21?
That's pretty darn good. I suppose. Yeah, he also rolls and rolls really high. And you see that he gives you this very stern, planted look, but at the last minute, you see him kind of dart back, and you've kind of broken his spirit. And in the contest of Machismo, you have come out the alpha.
Awesome. So I tell him, I've simply been trying to correct some incorrect information that was recorded at this ship's last port of call. We apparently took on board. And what's the name of the brother?
Redus.
Rebus, who's a cabin boy?
Redus. D is in
Redus.
David. Redus.
The captain hired a cabin boy and a cabin girl, but it seems that only the cabin boy was recorded officially, and I need to just correct that mistake quick before too many people notice.
Terrible.
No, Captain Graham will totally just chuck a little girl off the side. Like that, dude. Like that.
Yeah, so I need to make a deception check because I'm lying to him.
You see BS. Okay, yeah, make me a deception check. Let's see if
Is there anything I can do to get advantage on this? I shouldn't have been flying this solo. I should have took a buddy.
You really should. I'm gonna say that. Let me make a luck check for you. Okay, let me make a luck check for you because he did.
I'm pretty good at deception. Which is why I feel like this was not a terrible gameplay move, but also.
At that moment, you hold your breath and go, please show up, please anybody show up, and it's just nothing. I rolled a 1 on your luck check. No
Okay.
one comes to your help. You are flying
Great.
solo. It's mano y mano.
Deception. 12 plus 6 is 18. Deception
That's good because
check for Cracular.
a 17. So congratulations. You see BS, his eyes narrow, and you can see that his BS meter is just, he's scanning you so hard.
Yes,
but you've
Crocular's
weirded him out.
Crocular's deadpan is 100%.
Unreadable. Yeah. It may as well be trying to read spoons that you've dropped on the floor for ancient Sanskrit. He has no idea what's going on with you. So he kind of nods his head up and down and goes, okay, that's pretty serious. And honestly, I think Graham is, and he kind of looks over and he says, yeah, he's already had a couple of drinks and we're kind of winding down for the evening. He doesn't really like to be bothered right now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go talk to the bosun and see if I can get the bosun to, what's her name? Who's not on the list?
Matthew doesn't remember, but Crocular would.
Trillia.
Trillia.
Okay. You see BS pulls out a little notebook and a little quill, and he says, Trillia, race, age, gender.
I supply those details.
You approximate them, sure. Give me a charisma check to try to pluck that information out of the ether with confidence. You can make it a performance or a deception.
No, charisma is great for me, but
Okay.
deception is also great.
Good. Just make it deception since you're trying to fill in the details.
Cool. That's only a 10. Can
Okay.
I say okay, well,
It's okay.
Can I
You
say-
get a 10. He rolls higher than you, and you see
When I
his
fl-
eyes kind of narrow a little bit. Go ahead.
when I flub it, I say I only met her for a short time. Can I bring you to can I bring one of a fellow sailor who is a little bit more experienced in the matter?
All right. I'm glad you came clean with me, man.
He lies to me and I catch him.
We're never cool again. But we're cool. Because you said something. This time.
We're very cool.
All right,
And
yeah,
I'm gonna-
we're very cool. And he goes out to give
While-
you kind of a bro handshake, kind of the predator.
I leave a mess on his palm.
Yeah, you.
and
And
go,
when you do that, there's a splatter of paint, so he's now got some paint on his face.
And I go-
kind of.
I go
Okay.
to fetch whichever of these three has the highest charisma bonuses.
You go be competent with that NPC over there.
I need to go get Jim.
Excellent. So you go get Jim. You show up and you see that BS has a little notebook, and he says, "Hey, Crocular, explain the situation to me. We've got a totally valid, legitimate crewman who did not make it onto the manifest.
I'm your guy.
Brick and Rock told me to keep an eye out for you guys, so I'm going to do you a solid, try to get in with the boss and try to get her name on the paper before anything goes down.
I don't want to see a tiny little girl get
Yeeted off this shit, man.
Yeah.
alive.
I don't like that, so let's get this done." And so he gets information from you, Jim, and he goes off to find the bosun. Jim, do you go with him to help him negotiate with the bosun, or do you let him
Yes.
go do his thing?
Although I will need a little recap because I had a technical difficulty and I couldn't hear a big chunk of the beginning of that. So I actually don't know what Crocular did.
That's good because you weren't there.
Oh, okay, yeah, great. So that's all I heard. Cool. I'll go with him. I'm gonna roll with it.
Crocular's
Jim's gonna roll
coming
with it.
too. We are just all we're doing is correcting
What's going
the
on
records that are aboard this ship, which are incorrect and incorrectly
Oh, yeah.
say that only the brother was hired when actually the brother and the sister were hired
That's
together.
true. That's true.
And we are holding frame on that until the bitter end.
Okay, so
Jim gives you the gotcha.
So you see that BS walks up to the bosun, who is kind of a heavy-set, grizzled, older human with a salt and pepper beard and a bandana on his head and red sashes on either of his arms that kind of indicate that he's the second in command. And you see him mutter to BS, and he kind of pulls his head,
Narrows
his
his eyes.
eyes, and just at that moment, Jim, you're able to step forward and provide some assurances. So
She's
Jim,
very small. It's clear that it would be hard to see her. Yeah.
it'd be hard to see. Hard to see her, huh? Give me a with advantage deception check.
Deception.
Yes, because
Because
Crocular
Crocular's-
is helping.
And
Crocular
so
is doing the help action.
yeah.
18.
So the lie goes off without a hitch, and you see the bosun, and you see BS make the gesture of the little girl going off the side, and the bosun's, oh no, and you see the bosun go pull out some keys and go trundling down some stairs to the mid decks where ports are. Da-da-da-da! Congratulations.
The manifest.
We cut back to Neri and Pone, who are pulling pie, the tart, out of the oven. And Pone, you go and find the rest of your party. So you guys all now have this tart that I don't know what you're going to do with it because you've now amended the manifest. So, all right, what's the play here? Are you still going to try to convince the captain?
We're going to call it, she's the junior cook, and she's putting out a special treat in celebration. This whole party thing that's going on the ship is just part of the party.
Okay.
And nobody thinks that it's weird for her to be here. She's completely
normal.
part of the crew.
Part of the crew.
If the captain thinks something's out of the ordinary, we
had
are
one too many.
gaslighting him.
Yeah, and he's been drinking, so, you know.
Okay.
We're good. We're golden.
Very good. So you see that you guys see that Trillia emerges from the corner of the room, and she's wearing something different. You see that her hair has been combed. She's not wearing a beautiful dress or anything, but she's just wearing clean, non-burlap sack clothes.
Yeah.
Looks like not a stowaway. Her face has been wiped clean. Her hair has been brushed. It's been pulled back into a little something. Just a simple piece of string is holding it, but she looks presentable. And Jim, million to one odds, McDermish is the one who, cleaned her up while nobody was looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Neri is kind of walking along behind her, trying to make himself small, but providing a little bit of moral support to Trillia. And you guys all come up deck to the top, and you can see the captain over at the bow of the ship having some more wine out of a big cup. And there are a few other sailors standing around asking him questions. He's looking at charts. One of them is juggling over in the corner, and you can see apparently this guy's just crazy about juggling. He loves. He pulls out some little baby geese out of a bag, and you see he's juggling little baby geese. And take it away. You tell me. How do you approach?
Let's see. I already told the captain that Ritas was involved in this, so I'm going to go up with Ritas and say to the captain that we're ready to present the surprise, and Ritas's sister is the junior cook, and she's made you a lovely tart. Here you go.
You see Trillia step forward with the tart, and you can see that her little lower lip is quivering, and she is barely holding. You see that
Don't be nervous.
just as
She's
what's that?
I'm
What's
telling
that?
her, don't be nervous. Your mom's recipe is going to be great.
So she rolled a 2, and Neri rolled a 3. So she's trying to keep her composure, and you see Neri kind of reach out a hand to try to steady her, and you see goes in no bullet time.
Mage hand.
As she trips forward. Everybody roll for initiative. We've got a split second to deal with this situation. You're going to get either a bonus action or a standard action or a free action.
10.
You only get one. Okay, so 10 for Jim. Anybody get higher than Jim?
14.
12.
Okay. Okay. Pone, you see that Trillia is losing it. You see her, and she begins to cry, and you see Neri reach out, and he accidentally trips her, and you see that she's about to go down, and this tart is about to be smashed.
I do see those things. Yes. I have no idea what to
Crocular.
here.
It is a split second bullet time moment. You see that this little girl is about to trip and fall.
Yep.
You can do one thing. What do you do?
Here it goes. Gosh, I wish I had thought to give her my packed talisman before this. But I did
I
not.
wish I had given her some of the dark powers of my strange god.
I could have given her some dark powers of my strange eldritch deity, but I decided not to. I'm keeping the talisman on me. So instead, which do you like better, DM? Gust or Mage Hand for adjusting the position of a pie? Probably Mage Hand.
Okay, fair enough. So you're going to
Right?
go Mage Hand to try to save the pie. Very good. Make me a sleight of hand check with disadvantage to try to save this pie.
I think there are more mage hands coming, so I'm gonna. Well, you know what? So one of the things you can do with Gust is you create a small blast of air capable of moving one object that is neither held nor carried, and that weighs no more than 5 pounds. But then
I'll
the
say
next
this.
sentence is the object is pushed up to 10 feet away from you. So I don't know if it's good.
Pie?
I don't know if that's going to work. I think maybe Mage Hand, picking it up with Mage Hand is probably the better option. All right. Sleight of hand with disadvantage. Here comes. I'm not bad at sleight of hand. Oh, it's actually a 12.
DC 12 to catch the pie. So you've now got the pie in caught, like it's Trillia's hands are shooting forward and up, and you lift. How do you do it? I mean, you've succeeded. What do you do with this pie now that you've got it in your mage hand?
Oh, wait, she's tripping. She's currently unbalanced.
She's in the process of tripping forwards. Yes.
Maybe I don't want to get the pie with the mage hand. Maybe I want to get her.
Oh, too late. You've already grabbed the pie.
All right. So I am
Table.
hoping that somebody else will be able to. Oh, that's a good idea, Jim. Yeah, as a DM, I would probably not let this fly, but maybe Josh will. I'm going to have the pie describe something like the arc it was going to make anyway, but just adjust it very slightly so that it lands exactly where it ought to land on the table, with my mage hand just guiding it. Just gently guiding it through the air, lands, bounces once a little bit, and settles right in front of the captain.
It's going to happen. It's going to succeed. This is just for panache. Make me a performance check to...
I think the performance check should be, because the text of this spell is an eldritch hand appears.
Sure.
And so you have to have you have to have like a special magic thief thing to be able to make your mage hand invisible.
You know what? You know what?
It's against the rules for it to be invisible, really.
Not giant, but a oversized hand made of kaleidoscopic colored paint appears out of nowhere and comes up, lifts the pie out of this girl's hands, and moves it forward. Jim, you've got a split second to do something about the girl who's about to face plant in front of the captain. Do you do anything?
I'm going to do mage hand and just give her a little push upwards.
Okay. She's a tiny little 50-pound thing. Mage hand does 10 pounds of weight.
10 pounds of force, yeah.
If it works. So make me a sleight of hand check to try to steady her with mage hand.
All right, sleight of hand. Ooh, -1. 0?
0?
Wait, let me use my last luck point.
It can't be 0. It has to be
enough.
1.
Okay,
enough.
with my last luck point, it's 14.
Woo! Thank goodness.
14.
Wow. Hey, keeping a little girl on this boat has proved to be the most Herculean task we have ever undertaken in the history of this game. Okay, so here's what happens. Trillia is holding this pie. She's this cute, sweet little girl.
Josh,
Yep. Yeah.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
Okay. You're sorry?
I have a special thing that I took that I think was part of my... Yes. This is part of... When we leveled up, I took a feat.
Okay.
Especially for this.
Okay. How precious.
You learn the Mage Hand cantrip. You can cast it without verbal or somatic components, and you can make the spectral hand invisible.
Ooh.
I have the thing that makes it invisible.
Okay, I like
it. It's completely legal for me to invisibly, without making any hand gestures or anything, sitting there with my hands folded, mage hand this pie from where it is to where it ought to be. Completely
Yeah,
Rules as written, legal.
nice. And my mage
Excellent.
hand just holds.
That's right.
Great.
And we see you guys, because you're all right there and you're all hyper focused and your adrenaline is pumping, you see Neri pull some little movement and you see prestidigitation goes off and you see this little shower of arcane confetti that dissipates in the air. You see this pie come flying out of her hand, and Neri tries to, make it, because you see his eyes go wide as the pie goes flying forward, and he just kind of shoots out his hands. Confetti comes flying, and the pie lands in the hands of the drunk captain, and you see him hold his cup up in the air and go, "Ah!" And everybody begins clapping. This is almost entirely too much for Trillia, but fortunately everyone is smiling, and you see the captain takes the whole pie and just kind of bends down the tin and just takes a great big huge, says, "It's delicious!" And everybody, starts clapping. He goes over to this little Trillia, goes down on one knee and says,
Now, I try to keep my eyes peeled for every member of this crew.
oh, sorry, hang on. I try to keep my eyes. Hang on, time out. Wait. I try to keep my eyes peeled for every member of this crew, little girl. But I don't know you. But I see.
Your brother.
Redis. Redis, come over here. Why didn't you tell me your sister was such an incredible cook? I should give you 30 lashes for keeping such delicious treats from me, boy. Yeah, taste this.
And he kind of thrusts the pie at Redis. You see that Redis is trying to decide between throwing up, passing out, or wetting. Relieved, and he just kind of, oh, thank you, Captain. And he takes a bite of it and says, "It is delicious. I think it might be our mom's recipe or something. I don't know." And the captain hands his cup of wine to Trillia and says,
Here, girl. Have a sip. You deserve it.
and Trillia takes a sip. And Redis kind of gives the captain some thumbs up and whisks his sister away as possible. And the captain goes back to munching on the rest of his treat. And it seems that crisis has been averted. You guys have made you've swept her in under the rug. And if he goes to look and anything seems suspicious, he'll have a record in the log by BS and the bosun. So congratulations. You've solved my halfling stowaway puzzle. It is 8:45, so this is probably an excellent stopping point for us. We're going to 10-minute break, and I will see everybody here right around 8:55, 9 o'clock, somewhere in that time range, and we will continue play. Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you in a bit.
See you.
Good.
one of the things I love about D&D is just the raw situational drama. Forget about swords and stuff. Helping a little halfling girl make a pie is what a nightmare. That was fun.
Yep. Are you doing better after the whole COVID thing?
Finally, yeah.
Terrible one.
So I had, I was with my buddies over the weekend, and at the beginning of the drive home, my friend announced, "Hey guys, I think I've got COVID." So I then proceeded 3.5 hours in a vehicle with someone with active COVID symptoms. It was fine on Monday, and it hit, and I had to take off of work for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I dragged myself to work on Monday, Friday that next week. But it was rough. I couldn't think straight. I had horrific headaches every day around 3 or 4, and I just couldn't quit. Just had a lot of sinus issues for 4 or 5 days, and then just a few more days of lingering crud. So all told, it took me 2 solid weeks to test negative for COVID. So yeah, I had never had it before, to the best of my knowledge. So I think I was just having to go through all the work to deal with it. So
yeah, I was in bed for a solid week, just like couldn't. I mean, I could have gotten up and done stuff, but I really didn't want to.
Oh, I mean, from what I understand,
slept probably 15 hours a day during that.
Oh yeah. Like, I didn't have screens. I couldn't find my earbuds, and I was too sick to look for them. So I literally just
lay
there in the dark for about 5 days. Yeah. It was good. I mean, I detoxed from screens. So.
Yeah.
That's rough. That's rough, man.
Yeah.
You know what I had recently? That's not as bad. I got poison ivy for the first time.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry.
Never had poison ivy before. I think that I went for a bike ride or something, and I got it on like the pants I was wearing, and then I went to sleep in those same pants.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
So I think that I wasn't very sensitive to it. Because I've touched it as a kid. I would people would be like, "Don't go in that. Don't go behind the shed. There's poison ivy there." And I'm like, "I don't care." I would touch poison ivy all the time. But and my mom, for most of my mom's life up until she was 60, she could pull up poison ivy with her bare hands and have no effect.
Yeah.
She used to do it all the time. Anytime there was poison ivy, she would be like, "Oh, I'm." And get in there and yank it out. So I thought, yeah, but I think I just exposed myself to it for such a long time that my body, my histamine system finally reacted to it, and reacted real strong. I had new blisters appearing for a full week, It was like new parts of the rash were showing up, like all over my right arm, my right knee. It was nasty
because you absorbed a ton of it into your
I had-
bloodstream.
It was like pus running out, actively running from sores on my body for like 2 weeks. Super gross.
Yeah, I think I'm still not sensitive to it, but I always wear gloves and everything so that I don't get it.
Yeah, because once you get it, you
That's it,
become
you're done.
sensitive to it. It's the
Yeah.
opposite of chickenpox. Like
Yep.
once your histamine system decides that this is something we
I
need
don't
to
like
react
this.
to
Yeah.
really strongly, it like gets set.
So
Anyway, we're streaming all this. Everybody in the country now can watch me talk about my poison ivy and you talk about your COVID because this is live on the internet.
For all of time. Excellent. We almost had him back for a split second. Oh, this is good audio.
I started a new hygienic practice when I go for a bike ride or I do anything. I hose myself off in the backyard. I have one of those sprayer things on the hose that shoots water really hard. So I spray myself off really good. I have a bar of soap out in the backyard. I soap down, spray myself off again. I don't want any weird plant oils. I don't want to track
coming into your house.
Any nasty weird plant oils into my house.
Going full Andromeda strain. All right, excellent. Well, now that all of you have had a chance to hear about my COVID and Matthew's poison ivy, congratulations, your lives are richer. Back to the show. Ivan is up in the shack with his axe and his thoughts when his axe begins to vibrate again and a small beam of light shoots out of it and pierces into a cloud. And as he is following this small beam of light, we see that the clouds suddenly break. And for a split second, you only see it for about a half a second, but plunging through the clouds towards the earth, you see the entwined figures of Mara Skookum, the 40-foot wingspan dire eagle, and a very, very stone mantle. You see that the tentacles are wrapped around a number of Mara Skookum's wings, and you realize that they are in a death plummet, and that if Mara Skookum cannot break free, that she is going to dash into the earth and possibly be killed. Ivan, you have a split second as you see them piercing down through the clouds, and you see that they are about to pass by the ship. Do you do anything? You've got to react?
It's not close enough for me to. Am I sound on?
Your sound is on, but it's very quiet. I think that what we're picking up is coming from the computer rather than from your headset. I will tell you, it appears to be, it looks like they're about to pass within maybe 10 feet or so of the ship.
I'm totally jumping on then.
Okay, make me with advantage because you have like ropes you can like swing from a rope and it'll slingshot you out. You've got a good vantage point. You're launching in a clean dive. So make me a check with advantage, either athletics or.
I think you're trained in athletics, so
make me an athletics check.
Yeah.
Okay. You're still coming through pretty quiet. Were you able to change your audio over or anything?
Is this any better? Do I sound about the same like this?
That's a little bit better.
It
Maybe
still
I
seems
should leave
quiet.
and come back.
I feel like we're not getting the audio from the microphone right by your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, okay. For now, for this scene, just speak loudly and lean in close and speak loudly. We'll be okay.
Okay. I got 17 for the better of those two rolls.
Excellent. You immediately you grip your axe, reach up, grab hold of the side of the shack, plant your feet in front of you, and in one movement, yeet yourself out of the shack and dive. And as you're going down, you intercept them, and you grab on immediately, trying to instantly attack. You tell me what you're doing.
I'm going to try to grab onto the... Say it again. It's a rock something?
Stone man.
It's a stone mantle. Well, I'm just going to try to grab onto them. They're falling pretty quick, and I just want to join into the fray and then climb towards the stone mantle's something cut offable, hopefully head.
Okay.
But
yeah,
this is a quick and rash decision. I'm probably activating into my rage, and that might take more planning than there's time for.
No, that's okay. So it takes you to fly through the air and impact with this stone mantle and Maraskukam. You Ivan light, and we see light coming out of his eyes. We see him grow in size a little bit. His veins are beginning to bulge, and he gives out this prime serves as, and we see several members of the crew point at Ivan and Maraskukam and this thing going down beside, and you see that the captain then drops his drink, and in absolute, just gut-wrenching panic, you see this fear because he sees what is happening in a moment, that this stone mantle has a lot of tentacles wrapped around Maraskukam, and if she's not able to get her wings open, she won't be able to save herself from plummeting into the ground. The captain calls an alarm, and we see that the bosun who is at the wheel pulls a lever, and we see precipitously begin to drop, and he throws the wheel to drop and bank, trying to come down and around. But a mere second later, Maraskukam and Ivan and the stone mantle have already plummeted out of sight. Ivan, you see a tentacle come whipping at you. You throw up your axe and smack it aside. You have an opportunity to attack. Do you want to try to chop one of the tentacles, or do you want to try to bury the head of the stone mantle and try to kill the creature directly in the head?
If there are tentacles there, I'll probably just try to chop one of them off.
Okay. Make me an attack on one of these tentacles.
$21.
That hits. Roll me some damage.
$8 damage.
Very good. You hack into this tentacle, and you can see that it is barely hanging on by just a little thread, but it looks like you've almost severed this. We see Maraskukam try to open up her
wait, sorry.
wings, and she's unable to. So Mara Skookum reaches with her beak and tries to snap at these tentacles. Let me make a luck check to see whether or not she rolls the same one. The wrong one. Okay, so L through 8.
Hi. 7.
Also, I did 10 damage to the.
Unbelievable. You did how much?
I was just reading the 8 damage. They did not calculate. It should be 10. It didn't
Okay.
calculate the
What was your
rage.
extra rage damage?
Okay. With 10, you manage to slice through the tentacle cleanly. And we see that Mara Skookum reaches over with her beak, and she just grabs at that tentacle and just rips it off. We see that it takes a few feathers with it, but she has managed to get one of her wings significantly more clear. She tries to spread her wings. Oh, yes. She rolls a nat 20, and we see that she bursts through the grip of several of these tentacles.
And
She actually manages to open her wings up completely.
fine,
But you suddenly experience a bit of a pitch as you are now in a controlled dive. The stone mantle takes one of its two kind of main central pseudopods, one of its tentacles, and it tries to slap at Mara Skookum's face. And we see that there are spiny, stony-looking protrusions on the edges of this kind of scallop-shaped tentacle, and it slaps her across the face, and you see a large amount of blood spray come out, and you see that it has managed to smack her so hard that it is her feathers. It's shredded down the beginning of her kind of neck, shoulder area, and you see that there's a large spray of blood that comes out. Ivan, it is your turn.
Okay, I'm going to so I imagine I am probably holding on to her feathers more than the rock. Is the rock
right
made out of
now
rock?
right now you've managed to land kind of in the crook of where this thing is attached to her, but you know if Mara Skookum,
when all this goes down,
you probably should reposition yourself and get on her back. So I'm going to say that your movement
to do this,
but it's going to require either it's going to require acrobatics or athletics to try to deftly or through
yourself to a new
position. So make me
athletics check
to try to position yourself to where you're going to be with Mara Skookum if and when she pulls out of this dive.
Okay, I'm probably not thinking of that yet. I'm trying to imagine how I would go about attacking this. Why am I?
You've got a dirty great axe, and its head is pretty close to you.
Okay, I will go for its head.
Okay.
I'll do a frenzied attack. So if I'm able to get to its head using just a single movement, then I'll be able to do 2 attacks. But otherwise, if it takes a lot of navigating, I can use my main action into like a climbing dash or something like that.
Okay.
As a
All right.
bonus action to it. So you tell me if getting into a position to attack allows me to do 2 or just 1.
Yeah, you can still do 2. You're just moving over.
Okay. The first attack is 13.
13 hits. It's a squid, man.
It's not made of rock.
It has an AC of 13, but you hit it. It has some amount of natural stony protection, but it's not like the whole
rock.
Okay. Damage. Set. Four.
How much was the first one?
Not.
9 and 14. Okay, so that's 23 damage total.
No. 14.
Oh, okay.
8 damage.
That hits. 8 damage.
And 8. Yeah.
17, 10, 19, 20. You see that with the second blow, the stone mantle suddenly
Aggression it was showing towards Mara Skookum,
whether it was trying to like kill her and eat her, or whether it perceived her as a territorial threat or whatever. Tiny little brain clicks and it realizes this is way more damage than I am okay with taking. And you see some of its tentacles begin to peel off. And as you look over your shoulder, you see the ground rush down
at you.
And you see Mara Skookum's head kind of flicks down towards the ground, and you feel her kind of twist and try to orient herself to get her wings parallel to the ground. And you see her straight arms out, and she begins to pull up, and you begin to experience G-forces, the likes of which you've never even imagined. Make me a strength saving throw to hold on to Mara Skookum while she pulls out of this dive violently. Okay. Excellent. You barely hold on. This was a high DC, high difficulty, like not a small thing. It is only an act of your sheer will and strength and rage that keeps you connected to this bird. We see the stone mantle also try to pull out, but it doesn't have wings like Mara Skookum. It can't the air. All it has is some weird sort of levy oxide thing happening that makes it a bit more weightless. So we see it go smashing into the ground and kind of be partially explode in a spray of guts, and it opens up. And you, riding Mara Skookum, pull back up. Ivan, as you are coming back up towards the ship, which you see is kind of on its way down to you, you can see in the background behind the ship the clouds of several figures or other stone mantles that are bearing down on the ship from the other side. Jim, Crocular, Pone, everybody, roll for initiative as the ship is being attacked. A swarm of not baby, not juvenile, not even adult, but alpha large stone mantles. 3 of them.
19.
19 Crocular.
18 Pone.
19 Ivan.
19 Ivan. Okay.
LT
Jim,
has
8.
Sideways
Okay.
Infinity.
And 15 crew. I am going to cinematically describe the things that the crew does rather than making you all sit there and watch me roll a whole lot of stuff. So just so you know. So Ivan, you are on Mara Skookum's back with one hand gripping her feathers with a death grip and the other holding on to your axe. You are on her back. And she is currently flapping for all she's worth. And you can hear the rage in her scream is out. She appears to be veering just around the ship so that you know not going to run into the ship, but she's making a tight pass around the ship to try to intercept what looks like the largest of the three that is up above. It looks like there's one large one up above and two smaller ones down below. So you know that Mara Skookum is on an intercept path for one of these guys. You also know that. So if you wanted to try to fling yourself off of Mara Skookum onto the ship, it would be a dangerous and difficult thing, but it is a thing you could attempt. It's up to you.
Ivan's in a rage, so if she's going into the fray,
Yeah.
he's gonna yell there with her. as she's
Okay,
going
very
down.
good.
He's doing ah.
Yeah. All right, Jim,
Very
Crocular, Pone, you watch this giant dire eagle with your friend flooding with light, holding his axe out in the air, screaming his primal rage while she shrieks, go flying by you. And as you follow him flying by, you see behind you there are three stone mantles bearing down on you. Crocular, what do you do?
Well, I must say, 3 stone mantles bearing down on us. I'm trying to think of a sneaky way to use silent image in this situation to gain us some sort of advantage, but I think this is probably going to be like a straight up thing.
How
You
big
should
of a
just
silent
paint the
image
scene
can you
on the
make?
back of a van?
My silent image can be it's a 15-foot cube, so I can make a large thing. It can't move, so I'm not going to try that. So we're on the deck of a ship, and these things are flying all around us.
Mm-hmm.
There's no particular like choke point where they have to come through to get to us, is there? We're just empty.
Yeah, you're in open, empty airspace, but they are going to have to attack the back of the ship or come alongside the ship to attack the ship, further along the body.
Okay, and how bunched up are they?
Currently, there's one up above and then two a little bit lower. The two that are lower are within 20 feet of each other.
No, okay. In that case, yeah, I think it's what's going to be good is for me to just hand out a dissonant whispers on one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, this should work
I
on.
totally want to know what Crocular whispers to one of these squids.
Yeah, it's a little weird
know
for this
it's
to
gonna
work
be
on
pretty-
animals. But there isn't any text that says that it wouldn't work on an animal.
Excuse me, but Jared's character completely mind jobbed an elk by his mate was in heat, and there was another buck that was going to breed it.
Yeah.
Well, canonically, animals are susceptible to dissonant whispers.
So, I mean, what this squid hears is like the patterns that you have put on your skin are so passé. That is last season's squid camouflage that you have on. I cannot believe I'm seeing something so cringeworthy on my ship.
And what is the DC for this thing to pass?
They've got to pass a DC 14 Wisdom saving throw.
Well, this thing managed to scrape out a 10. So suddenly its spots, its coloration, which it does have the ability to actively. You see that its spots suddenly go kind of prismatic and kaleidoscopic in color, and those kind of spasm, that color wave spasms across its body, and you see its tentacles twitch and flail.
Well, that's going to take a tasty 16 psychic damage.
That's a lot of brain power.
Yikes, that's a spicy psychic meatball.
And it must immediately use its reaction, if available, to move as far as its speed allows away from me.
Oh, you see it.
Wow.
It shudders in this color, and all of its tentacles go flying upwards, and you see it kind of suddenly break in the air, and you see it spin around, and it shoots out a jet, a stream of this ink, which blasts into the back of the ship, and it doesn't damage the ship, but it is like, a turbocharged. It's like a fire hydrant, kind of powerful jet stream of water. So clearly there's some force that this thing is used to shoot itself off. And it flies off into the Pone. You are being pursued from above by 2 stone mantles that are bearing down on the ship.
How close?
At this point, they're about 60 feet away.
Above me?
They is currently
Going down at a 45-degree
dive. Mara Skookum is coming up and is about to kind of do a maneuver where she shoots up past the belly of the ship. And behind you guys, also diving at a little bit steeper than 45 degrees, are these 2 stone mantles that are kind of in formation next to each other, about 20 feet apart.
That is intense.
I'm going to get as close as I can to them with leaving the confines of the ship, and just
So you're going to go to the back of the ship.
Strike.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go
Wait. Strike.
Platform on the back of the ship where there's
a
large harpoon gun, and you see that there is one guy who's already there who is
he is a loader, and you see that he has immediately,
because he's there already, he's grabbing a harpoon and getting it out, and so you can either run up to the harpoon and fire it, or you can use one of your spells.
As a monk, I have no spells, so my choices are. I will go up to the harpoon and sort of hurriedly thank him for putting it in and aim it, and hopefully.
Very good. You throw your shoulders against the bracing. You kind of drop your weight and get this thing cranked up. Actually, you have to kind of stand up on your tiptoes and point it down because they are a little bit lower than the back of the ship. You make me a dexterity base check with proficiency because you've had a chance to train with this thing and learn how to use it. It's a simple weapon, so you get to use your proficiency, your dexterity to fire it.
Okay.
It's even got a little.
I'm not exactly sure.
Basically, roll me a d20, add your dexterity, and then add a +3.
Yep. Gotcha. D20. 18.
18 hits. You skewer this thing. You see that it punctures right of its big, meaty, fleshy head, punctures in, and you see that it's only slightly off to the side. And so that barb, the entire harpoon, lodges up inside the body. And you see a large spray of juice and ink that comes out. Very good.
Does the harpoon attach to the harpoon?
Yes, there is a cable attached to it. So you now have this guy firmly attached on the cable. You see that the crew scrambles into place. BS disappears for a minute. You see him run into, there's kind of a like a large that he pops open, and you see him grab some sort of backpack that he puts on, and you see him grab a. We see that the rest of the crew all run to and man their stations, and a couple of more guys come up next to you, Pone. One and loads another harpoon in.
The other one
Kind of pushes you out of the way and begins ratcheting the whole apparatus back so that you'll be able to fire it again next round. Jim.
I'm gonna run over to where Pone is, and so if it's attached by cable, do we still need to disable it, or is it caught and we
it is currently, it has been punctured by a harpoon, and you
falling behind.
But that harpoon line is taut and is now on tension, slowly letting out.
Okay.
Either try to jump
On the reel and try to tighten this thing up, or you can jump on the harpoon gun itself and fire, because Pone has been pushed out of the way and two other guys have already reloaded it and ratcheted it back, so it's ready to be used again.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll shoot it.
Okay. Do you want to shoot the one?
The other one.
The other one. Let's catch a couple of them.
Okay.
What do I roll?
Roll me a dexterity-based check. You get to use your dexterity and because you have been trained on how to use this, and it's a simple point and shoot. It's got a little reticle on it, so you just kind of line up the reticle, pull it. So dexterity, D20 plus dexterity plus proficiency. Boom!
Yeah, natural 20.
Yeah, you skewer this thing. You see down the very dead center of the line of the head, and you see it instantly go limp, and you see that it is now, all of its tentacles are completely limp, and it is obviously skewered.
Awesome.
You guys see that from up above to the side, about 4
to the side, another 2 more come down
at the ship, and you see that one of the bugbear guy has one of these, and you see him drop his weight and pivot at the last second, and he just skewers one of these guys on it. Another guy tries to skewer it, but you see that it actually comes down with too much speed and it rips the pike off. And you see the guy who is holding onto it. You hear him scream, and you see him get yanked off the side of the ship. And you see BS whip towards this guy, and you see BS just take a running leap and just, Tom
Cruise Mission Impossible style,
off the side of the ship after the guy who just got. Ivan, it is your turn.
I'm going to hold attacks for as soon as. What is her awesome name?
Mara Skookum.
Mara Skookum engages one of the squid.
Yeah. So you see Mara Skookum goes shooting past, and you see that the ship, and she's about to go for the one that's on the line, and then you see her at the last minute flip as this stone mantle comes diving at her and tries to basically,
and you,
because you've been holding your action before this thing is able to attack Mara Skookum, you're able to get as it gets close.
Ah! Let's see, 20 something. That is it? Okay. A good solid hit. 17.
17. You chop off 2 of its tentacles. one of its main tentacles and then one of the tentacles right next to it. And you see this thing immediately think better of the engagement and peel off and dive away. You see it uses gravity to its advantage, and it immediately begins running away from the fight. Kind of whips back over, does a inverted barrel roll thing, and dives down after it. And you see her come down on top of it and sink her claws into its head. And you hear this loud squelching and crunching sound as the stony hide of its head and its kind of brain cavity area are crushed and she does that same thing again. You don't have to make a check for it, but she opens her arms up and you again feel all the juices in your body pressed down and you kind of try to keep from passing out. And she circles back up to the ship with this creature in her talons. Crocular, you have a live stone mantle that has been barbed, and you is in spite of being hurt. Or Crocular, where are you on the ship? Did you make it to the back?
I didn't move anywhere. I just cast a spell at whichever one I could see where I was standing when we started.
You're somewhere in the low rigging of the ship, so you've got kind of a good view of what's happening. You're not all the way up in the shack, but you're in the kind of mid-level rigging, so you're able to see around. Crocular, you see that there are two more smaller ones that are coming at the ship from the opposite side, not the side that everybody's paying attention to, the one where BS jumped off the side and the bugbear skewered one, but there are two more coming from over here.
Okay, I have this question. There's a lot of drama having to do with falling going on right now. And I'm just wondering if anybody within 30 feet of me could benefit from a telekinetic shove. For instance, if they need to be shoved back onto the boat. If they just fell off of it, for instance.
Interesting. So it was last round that somebody fell off.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I
at
think
the
falling
moment
happens instantly.
Yeah. Yep. However, I will say the ability
The telekinetic
shove. You can see. Make me a intelligence-based check with proficiency. You're a smarty pants. You're an artist. You know how to judge space and distance.
Okay. Well, my intelligence is -1, but my proficiency bonus is +2. So
okay,
I'll do a +1.
Intelligence.
That's 3. That is a
okay.
A trace.
You're trying to use your telekinesis, but based on that roll, I can't. You can
still do something clever. It just needs to be your idea.
Yeah. No. I think that it seems like I see some of these coming from the distance that everybody else has not seen.
Everybody else is paying attention elsewhere. On the other side.
Yeah.
Of the
So I'm gonna shout about them. I'm gonna be like, "There are two coming from that way."
Smart.
And then the
it's
one
because you do
the one that
you
see that some of the crew rush over to
man the pike stations, so they're actually going to have a fighting shot at skewering these things. You know, the
portside pikes
because you shouted. So good, keep going.
And somewhere around here, there's some people who are sort of playing tug of war with one of these things where they've skewered it and it's trying to get away. And
on the back of the ship,
can I have 30 feet of movement. Can I get within 30 feet of that?
30 feet
of the creature.
Yeah.
I'll say that if you jump down off the rigging, if you make me a rigging check, you can swing yourself out. That would be a dexterity or acrobatics based check.
This is
Fall
off the boat if you
yeah.
fail, but you're trying to grab the right,
Basically, go
swinging way out on an arm out behind the ship and get close.
It's just an 11.
That's all you need. A rigging check is a 10.
Okay,
So
cool.
you make a rigging
So
check, you swing around, you're within 30.
So I come up to where they're doing this tug of war, and with a bonus action, I am going to telekinetically yank the stone mantle 5 feet towards them.
Okay.
Just a telekinetic force, grab it, thump, and it has to. For that, let me find the. It has to. It's a DC 14 Strength saving throw to resist that.
Okay. This thing is seriously damaged and currently has a huge bar through it. So it rolls.
Yeah,
a
and what I'm
3.
trying to do is, because they're currently like, it's trying to get away, and they're trying to keep it. I'm just shoving it towards them.
Yeah.
So that
you
they'll
see that the reel suddenly and it comes shooting in
awesome.
closer to the ship.
Cool.
Pone.
And no, wait, that was a bonus action. I can still shoot at it. It's going to get an Eldritch Blast. How is a 24 versus its armor class?
Yeah, you wildly supersede it.
Sweet. It's going to take 1 point of force damage. I zap it. Zit!
A hit. A palpable hit.
You see a small color spray of ink as you pop one of its main ink glands, and it spews out some of its skin ink. Pone.
All right. I'm gonna. Is there like a reeling function on the?
There is, yes.
Thing? Yeah.
Indeed, there is.
So I'm gonna try and reel it in as close as I can, about like 5 feet or 10 feet or something similar.
Yep. If you make. Okay, Matthew's brought it in 15 feet. If you can make, for every DC 5, you'll bring it in 5 more feet on an athletics or strength check.
Got it. All right. Wow. 10. So.
Okay, so it is now 15 feet away.
Okay. Huh. All right. I guess that's my turn.
You can also the harpoon gun, and you can, you reel it in, and you kind of stand up, grab a harpoon, reload it, so it'll. The crew comes up alongside you. Somebody comes to you, and you guys continue to bring it in. In fact, Pone, if you'd like, you see that somebody. You can hold your action until it's been reeled in completely, and then you would have a chance to do something to it. I know that's kind of helping you a little bit. Better than you. Pone is a tactical guy. Do you want to hold your action and attack it after the crew brings it in?
Yes. Is it a bonus action or just a normal action?
Reeling it in is, I would say that bonus.
Take your whole turn.
Okay. It's just a thing that you're doing for a moment. So you can hold your standard action and use your standard action on this thing, because the crew does come alongside. One guy does this reeling number, and another dude just reaches, grabs the cable, and you see he kind of pulls it in the last few feet. So it's really close. If you want to sucker punch this thing between the eyes, you see that it is pretty messed up. If you do a good job, you might actually finish it off, which would be good, because it's pretty dangerous, because this dude is currently barehanded dragging a several 100-pound monster through the air behind him. And if it flails or gets a hold of the rope, it could yank him off his feet.
So I will punch it. Now or when or later?
Now.
Now. Okay, great. Let's see. I can key point to make it 3 attacks, so I'm gonna do that.
Immediately transition this thing into a sushi state.
Nice.
First roll is 24, second
Hits.
is 18, and the
Hits.
third is 16.
Don't even bother rolling dice.
It looks like.
When you utterly, brutally into this thing.
So, the first thing, obviously, I'm not even going to waste time standing there. I'm just going to jump on it and then punch it twice in the face. And I'll kick just off it, plummeting it into the darkness below.
You push off of it, and this dude who is currently holding onto it, you see that with great effort, he barely manages to hold onto it. But you leap off the boat, land on it several times rapidly, jump back off of it with a flip, and land on your feet on the deck. And a number of the crew saw you do this. Immediately let loose a stream of shock and tittering, even in the midst of crisis, about what an incredible thing that was that they just saw. Jim, save us, Jim, save us.
Oh, no. Are there any that are within about 90 to 100 feet and are damaged, but not?
Yeah, so the one that I keep trying to say Diamondback, but Crocular messed up really badly. You see that it comes back from up above, and you know that it's the one because it's still bleeding these rain punctures of pigment out of it, and you can see that it's this weird kaleidoscopic rainbow colored thing. So it's obviously the same one, and it is coming at the ship. And it looks like this is the last one, and it's a big one.
All right. If I put it to sleep, will it land somewhere that we can deal with it easily?
You see that it is barreling down pretty much straight on the ship.
I'm gonna knock that sucker out.
Too hard to cast sleep and have it come crashing into the ship. So I'm gonna say that with I'm not even gonna make you make a check for that. It is heading for the ship.
Okay.
It's trying to intercept the ship. So
all right. Oh, I don't know how many hit points he's have. I'm gonna upcast it just for fun. Just for funsies. Sleep.
It is a big boy.
Yeah.
How many dice are you rolling?
I'm trying to see. 5, 6, 7, D8.
Nice. Okay, yeah, you might actually do that.
What?
I upcast it.
To put it to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh.
I gotta get more hit points than it has. 4. I only have 4 of them. Let's see. Ooh, nice. 14, 25, plus 28, 34, 39.
Yes.
It had 32 hit points left. That's awesome.
Okay.
So
one more thing.
Go ahead.
Hold on just a second. That also sets off a wild magic surge.
Nice. All right, roll that beautiful beam footage.
So,
I keep forgetting to make you do that.
Yep. Well, that's the first time it's really happened. I rolled a 56, which says your hair falls out. So the lines on the crackling scar lines on my hand start glowing green, and all my hair just falls out. Like every hair on my body just
on the ground. for a split second, you see all the wild energy, wild magic shining through these cracks in Jim's skin that look like pieces of broken glass that are right up next to each other. And for a split, all of Jim's body turns to like green sea glass. He's just a statue of green sea glass for a 10th of a second. But in that 10th of a second, when he comes flashing back, he's hairless, utterly head to toe, utterly hairless, like a naked mole rat. Congratulations. Yeah, so we see Ivan and Maraskukam come landing onto the ship, and you see that Maraskukam has an entire other stone man claws. It's got her claws pierced into the skull cavity of this thing, and so she right on top of the one that Jim just put to sleep. And you now have a mega alpha and a big size adult. Of course, Jim has only put this thing to sleep.
Yeah.
So immediately a number of crewmen run over with sabers, and they kind of skewer these sabers into kind of the head area between the eyes. And, you know, they know the anatomy of these things really well. And 2 or 3 stabbing in multiple times. You see it. It's not asleep. It's now dead. And all of you kind of look around at the wreckage and the carnage. And BS comes flying, comes hooking up, and lands very deftly on the ship deck with the guy who had fallen overboard. A bear hug around him. He's got his arms underneath the guy's armpits, and he lands down and puts the guy down. The guy kind of back
on his hands and knees
and is just kind of breathing. Somebody
picks him up.
And the captain hurls his saber up into the air and says, "We've routed them, boys! Congrats! All that full purses will be full when we come to ports." Ah! And everybody in the crew, you know, throws up their hands and begins shouting. And Ivan, you see that Captain Graham makes a beeline towards you. He is running at you with a very intense look on his face. For a split second, because you're in a rage, you know, you almost have this instinct to fight him. But make me a wisdom save, DC 8.
Okay, 19 plus something. I think once
Plus stuff.
Yeah. So really good. Probably once he landed and hopped off the Eagle onto the ship, he started calming down and
We can see the light beginning to dim in Ivan's eyes. We can see veins beginning to, you know, shrink back into his flesh. And the captain goes running at you when he sees you and just barrels into you and is hugging you incredibly hard. He's weeping a little bit, like he is crying, holding on to you and kind of crying into your neck. And he kind of pulls away and just says,
"God, thank you. This is the greatest gift anyone's ever given me. You've protected a wife, a child, a friend, the love of my life. You will have my journey."
And everybody around got like their eyes get really wide, and you realize he just promised you his portion of the booty for saving his friend. The captain points to everybody and says,
"No point in even hunting anymore, lad.
Head straight for the
Ports. It'll be a small detour, but we must unload our cargo and get ourselves paid."
And everybody begins shouting. And he says,
"And a special thanks, a special commendation, a special recognition for our guests who have done more than pull their weight around here. If you boys want to have a life in the air, a life of hunting, slimy bastard, come on my crew on my ship anytime."
And everybody begins patting you on the back and congratulating you and thanking you. And then you see that there's a small fan group that has gathered around Pone and is describing the move that Pone did when he did this inverted butterfly jump and this rapid monk punch and a reverse butterfly jump. And he believes that you did that, Pone. Do you set their arguments to rest by replicating the movement?
Super confused. He's just like, guys, I just punched him. Just bam, 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 and then he's gonna do some really complex maneuver. It's just that simple, guys. I don't understand.
Yeah. So after this, they're definitely on the crew who are constantly following you around, begging you to teach them kung fu, basically. And with that, the scene sets, we see that the crew, everybody who is capable of and trained in butchering these things is working overtime because they now have 3, 4, 5 of these things that they are able to butcher. So you guys have grilled stone mantle tonight, and it fresh, and it is delicious. I mean, it's like a cross between lobster and crab and alligator. It's this deep white semi-sweet meat, and you guys are able to gorge yourselves. All of you are given little ad hoc necklaces made of some of the spines that come off of these things. Ivan, one of the guys, brings a whole eye over to you and stabs a dagger into it and lets you drink the eye juice if you want it. You look like a pretty gnarly kind of dude who might be into that. Do you try it?
Yeah.
Okay. Make me a Constitution saving throw.
Dirty 20.
Oh man, you drink this thing and it is fire in your belly. It feels like there's an earthquake happening under your feet. You completely lose all sense of equilibrium. Every cell of your body is screaming, "Oh God, please let us vomit this out." And you stand there, unwavering, gulp it down, and after a few seconds it passes. And everybody around you loses it. They're grabbing their heads. They're saying they can't believe it. Ivan got the ritual. This was supposed to knock him on his butt, but Ivan the Oak Tree, as some people begin calling you now, has passed it. You guys gorge on stone mantle flesh. You get to help out with the butchering process. You get to see the insides of it, and you get to see all of these kind of nodule-like sacks that are full of things that look like maybe like a kidney stone or something like that. But you ask some of the crew about it, and they tell you that these are levy oxide crystals that form in these sacks. And it's not pure levy, so you don't really get the full effect. You can't build with it in the way that you could with the pure levy that comes from the cloudy sea. But if you put it through the right alchemical processes, if you add or if you burn it, especially if you burn it in a kiln that's designed for it, you can make a kind of an anti-gravity field that, for example, this ship runs on. So who is all delighted. They've got enough levy to keep them afloat for many, many months to come, and they've got excellent haul and material to sell. So everybody is thrilled and offers you some of the best food and best drink as you all celebrate with the crew. Well, and congratulations, you've solved my stone mantle puzzle. It's 9:55, so we're going to wrap things up for the night. Thank you so much for other Odyssey. When next we meet, hopefully we'll be seeing some more ports of call and getting a little bit closer to dropping our Arcanium in the care and guidance of Don La Bamba. Very good. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.